Chapter 5, One Bark for Yes. Roy and Eric were still considering their next move when the whistle went and put a stop to everything. The children began lining up in their classes. The teachers came out to lead them in. Rolfe Street Primary, that was the name of the school, was old. It had tall, thin windows like a church. There were iron railings at the front and a high brick wall at the back. The headmaster was old too. His name was Mr. Blocker. Eric and Roy lined up with Class 3 facing Mrs. Jessup. Roy said, "Let's ask him again at playtime." "Face the front," said Mrs. Jessup. "Come on, Roy." In the classroom, Mrs. Jessup called the register. "Anthony Abel?" "Here, miss." "Roy Ackerman?" "Here, miss." "Dennis Ball?" "Gone to the dentist, miss." "No, I saw him playing out." "His sister says—" "Shh," said Mrs. Jessup. "Eric Banks?" "Here, miss." "Woof!" Mrs. Jessup glared. "Who did that? Was that you, Roy?" "No, miss," said Roy. He had barked quite softly, intending, or maybe half intending, only Eric to hear. Soon it was playtime, and at playtime Eric bought a bag of crisps from the fourth-year shop. He and Roy kicked a ball around with Tony Abel. Kenny, bribed with crisps, went looking for Hopper. "Tell him it's for a bet or something," said Roy. "Give him a crisp." But this time all went well. Perhaps Hopper was in a good mood. He was unpredictable in more ways than one. He did unpredictable favours sometimes. Whatever the reason, when Kenny came back he had the information. Hopper says yes, he was at Purnell's, and it was after 10 o'clock. "See, I told you," said Eric, looking at Roy. "He says there was a dog, and him and Martin Smart had it jumping for chips." "See," said Eric. "They had it jumping for fish and pineapple fritters too," Hopper says. Well, that settled it for Roy. He couldn't believe it, but he did believe it. The idea that Eric himself might have gone to Purnell's fish shop and seen a real dog begging for chips had made the rest of it up never occurred to him, or if it did, he dismissed it. Eric wouldn't do a thing like that. Eric, for his part, was relieved. He'd begun to have doubts himself. For some reason it seemed better to know he'd turned into a dog, to have it proved, than to find out he'd imagined it. Eric gave Kenny the rest of his crisps. Once more, Eric and Roy sat on the dustbins. Roy was excited. He took his jockey cap off and put it on again, 3 or 4 times, and when Kenny left, he punched the flat of his hand with his fist. "It's brilliant, Eric. You really turned into a dog." "I told you," said Eric. "Yes, but you really did." Roy stood on a dustbin and jumped up and down. After a while, he sat down again. Roy was staring ahead. "I've been thinking, if you changed once, you could change again." "I know," said Eric. "You could change any time." "Yes." On the way back to the classroom, Eric said, "Listen, if I do change, we'll need a code." "A code?" Roy stopped and looked admiringly at Eric. "Hey, that's good." Roy and Eric sat down. "So this is it," said Eric. 1 bark for yes, 2 barks for no." "Right," said Roy. 1 for yes, 2 for no." He muttered the formula to himself 2 or 3 times. Then he thought of something else. "What shall I call you if you're a dog?" "Eric," said Eric. "That's no name for a dog. How about Rex?" "No," said Eric. "Call me Eric." At dinner time, Eric and Roy sat at the same table. There were 2 girls from Class 3, Joan Spooner and Alison Jukes. Eric and Roy liked it on their table. They didn't eat much themselves and gave big helpings. Roy said, "I've just thought of something." "Listen, if you were a dog, you'd have to buy a licence." "No," Eric said, "you need a licence to have a dog, not to be one." "Just think, you could be eating bone meal biscuits and pedigree chum," said Roy. "What's all this about dogs?" said Joan. "Who says? I had pineapple fritter last time." "What is all this about dogs?" said Alison. "It's a secret, isn't it, Eric?" Eric poured himself a glass of water. "Woof," he said, and that is the end of the chapter.